I never thought the smell of jasmine and bergamot would change my life. But here we are. 3 weeks ago, I switched my perfume. That's it. That's the catalyst for everything that's happened since. And when I say everything, I mean the kind of everything that keeps you awake at 3 in the morning, replaying a single moment over and over until you're not sure if you're remembering it correctly or if your brain has added details that weren't really there. Except I know this happened. I know because my heart is still racing. Her name is Sophia. We've worked together for almost 2 years at a boutique marketing firm downtown. Same floor, different departments. I'm in content strategy, she's in graphic design. We've always been friendly. You know that kind of office friendship where you chat by the coffee machine, share knowing looks during tedious meetings, occasionally grab lunch when your schedules align. Easy, comfortable, safe. Or at least it was safe until 3 weeks ago. I'd gone to this little perfume shop in the Arts District on a Saturday afternoon, the kind of place where everything is handmade and costs slightly too much but smells like heaven. The owner was this elegant woman in her 60s who took one look at me and said she knew exactly what I needed. She mixed this custom blend right there, jasmine and bergamot with something deeper underneath, something woody that I couldn't quite identify. When I wore it that first Monday to work, I felt different. More confident, maybe. More myself. Sophia noticed immediately. That's the thing about her. She notices everything. Details that other people miss. The new earrings you're wearing. The fact that you changed your coffee order. The slight edge in your voice when you're stressed even though you're smiling. She has these incredibly observant hazel eyes that seem to catalog everything. And when she looks at you, really looks at you, it feels like she's seeing something nobody else does. That Monday, she walked past my desk around 10 in the morning, then stopped, turned around, and came back. I was deep in a content calendar, barely paying attention until I felt her presence. You know how some people just have a presence? How you can feel when they're near you even before you see them. "You smell different," she said, and there was this note of curiosity in her voice that made me look up. She was standing right beside my desk, closer than colleagues usually stand, her head tilted slightly, like she was trying to solve a puzzle. "New perfume," I said, suddenly self-conscious in a way I hadn't expected. "Do you like it?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she leaned down, and I swear to God my brain short-circuited. She leaned down and inhaled near my shoulder, not touching me but close enough that I could feel the warmth of her breath. Close enough that I caught her scent too, something clean and slightly citrusy that I'd never consciously noticed before, but that my body apparently had memorized. "It's beautiful," she said, her voice softer than usual. "Really beautiful. What is it?" I told her about the perfume shop, about the custom blend, and the whole time we were talking, she stayed close. Not inappropriately close. Nothing that would make anyone watching think twice, but close enough that every nerve ending in my body was suddenly awake and paying attention. Close enough that when she finally stepped back and returned to her desk across the room, I felt the absence of her like a physical thing. That was week 1. Just a moment. Just a compliment about perfume. I told myself it meant nothing. Sophia is tactile, I reasoned. She's warm and open and probably gets close to everyone. This wasn't about me. This wasn't anything. Except then it kept happening. She started finding reasons to stop by my desk, asking my opinion on color schemes for projects I wasn't even involved in, bringing me coffee in the afternoon, always prepared exactly how I like it even though I'd never explicitly told her. Dark roast, splash of oat milk, no sugar. She just knew. And every single time, there would be this moment, this pause where she'd stand just a little too close, where her eyes would linger on my face a beat too long, where something unspoken would pass between us that made my stomach flip. I started wearing that perfume every single day. I told myself it was because I liked it, because it made me feel good. But that was a lie. I wore it because I wanted her to notice, because I was chasing that feeling of her leaning close, of her attention focused entirely on me. Week 2, things escalated. We were both working late on a Thursday, some big pitch due the next morning. The office was mostly empty, just us and a couple of people from accounting on the other side of the floor. Around 8, Sophia appeared at my desk with Thai takeout. "You haven't eaten," she said. Not a question. A statement of fact because she'd been watching me, paying attention. We ate together in the small conference room, sitting side by side instead of across from each other. Our knees touched under the table. Neither of us moved away. We talked about work at first, then about other things. Her childhood in Portland. My complicated relationship with my mother. The novel she was reading. The podcast I couldn't stop listening to. Easy conversation, but underneath it, this current of something else. This awareness of every point of contact, every shared glance, every moment when one of us would say something and the other would understand completely without explanation. At some point, I made her laugh, really laugh, and she reached over and put her hand on my forearm. Just rested it there while she laughed, her fingers warm against my skin. And when the laughter faded, she didn't move her hand right away. She let it stay there, her thumb unconsciously rubbing a small circle on my wrist, and we both went very quiet, just looking at each other. My heart was pounding so hard I was sure she could hear it. "Your perfume," she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "I think about it constantly. Is that weird?" "No," I said, even though my mouth had gone completely dry. "No, that's not weird." She pulled her hand back then, and we both returned to our food, but something had shifted. The thing between us had been acknowledged, even if obliquely, even if neither of us was brave enough yet to say what it actually was. I went home that night and lay in bed staring at the ceiling. I'm 29 years old. I've dated men, had relationships with men, assumed I was straight, because that's what I'd always been told I was, what I'd never questioned. But lying there, I couldn't stop thinking about Sophia's hand on my wrist. The way my whole body had responded to her touch. The way I felt when she looked at me. This wasn't friendship. This wasn't admiration. This was want. This was attraction. This was me finally recognizing something about myself that had probably been there all along, waiting for the right person to make it impossible to ignore. I barely slept. I spent half the night researching, reading essays and articles about late-blooming queer identity, about compulsory heterosexuality, about the difference between appreciating women aesthetically and being attracted to them. Everything I read felt like someone had written it specifically about me. All these experiences I'd dismissed or reframed or never examined too closely suddenly made sense through this new lens. And Sophia. God, Sophia. Every interaction we'd ever had started replaying in my mind with new context. The way she'd always seemed to seek me out. The way her face lit up when I walked into a room. The way she looked at my mouth sometimes when I was talking. How had I not seen it? Or had I seen it and been too scared to let myself understand what I was seeing? Friday morning, I almost called in sick. The thought of facing her with all this new awareness felt impossible. But I didn't. I put on that perfume, chose my outfit more carefully than usual, a deep green blouse that I knew looked good on me, and went to work. Sophia was already at her desk when I arrived. She looked up the moment I walked in, and something in her expression told me she hadn't slept much either. We were both dancing around this thing now, both aware of it, neither quite ready to name it. The day passed in a blur of stolen glances and carefully casual interactions. Every time we spoke, there was this charge in the air. This tension that was equal parts terrifying and exhilarating. Around 3 in the afternoon, she sent me a message on our office chat. Just 3 words. "Can we talk?" My hands were shaking when I typed back. "When?" "After work? There's a wine bar 2 blocks over." I said yes before I could talk myself out of it. The rest of the afternoon was torture. I couldn't focus on anything. I kept imagining what she might say, what I might say, how this conversation could go. Part of me wanted to run. Part of me had never wanted anything more than to hear what she had to tell me. At 5:30, we both left the office separately, but met on the sidewalk outside. It was early autumn, that perfect temperature where you don't need a jacket, but the air has a crispness to it. We walked side by side to the wine bar, not quite touching, but close enough that our hands occasionally brushed. Neither of us spoke. The silence felt heavy with everything unsaid. The wine bar was quiet, dimly lit, with small tables tucked into private corners. We found one in the back, ordered a bottle of Pinot Grigio to share, and then sat looking at each other across the table. Now that we were here, Neither of us seemed to know how to begin. "I need to tell you something," Sophia said finally, her fingers playing nervously with the stem of her wine glass. "And I'm terrified. But I can't keep pretending I don't feel what I feel." My heart stopped. Actually stopped. "Okay," I managed. "I like you," she said, the words coming out in a rush. "I've liked you for months, maybe longer. And I know we work together, and I know this could make everything complicated, and I don't even know if you would ever, I mean." She stopped, took a breath. "Your perfume. It's not really about your perfume. It's you. It's always been you. And I needed you to know that, even if it means things get weird between us, even if you don't feel the same way." She looked terrified, vulnerable, beautiful. I reached across the table and took her hand, and the relief that flooded her face made my chest ache. "I'm figuring something out," I said slowly, trying to find the right words. "About myself, because of you, because of how I feel when I'm around you. And it's new, and I'm scared, but I know that I like you too. I like you in a way I've never let myself like anyone before." Her hand tightened around mine. "Yeah? Yeah." I laughed, a little breathless. "I wore that perfume every day because I wanted you to notice me. I think I've been trying to get your attention for weeks without admitting to myself what I was doing." We stayed at that wine bar for hours, talking about everything. She told me she'd known she was gay since college, that she'd been out for years. I told her about my confusion, my late-night revelation, my fear and excitement all tangled together. She listened without judgment, without trying to rush me or define me, just present and patient and understanding. "There's no timeline," she said at one point. "You get to figure this out at your own pace. I'm not going anywhere." When we finally left the wine bar, it was dark outside. We walked slowly back toward where we'd parked, neither of us wanting the night to end. On a quiet side street, under a street lamp that cast everything in warm amber light, we stopped, turned to face each other. "Can I try something?" Sophia asked, her voice soft. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. She stepped closer, into my personal space, the way she had that first day by my desk. But this time, there was intention in it. This time, we both knew what was happening. She reached up slowly, giving me time to pull away if I wanted to, and gently touched my hair, running her fingers through the strands near my temple. Then she leaned in and pressed her face against my hair, inhaling deeply, the same way she'd done weeks ago, but more intimate now, more deliberate. I felt her breath warm against my scalp, felt the slight tremble in her hand where it cupped the back of my head. My eyes closed. Every sensation felt magnified. The smell of her skin, the softness of her touch, the way my body seemed to melt toward hers like it had been waiting for permission to do exactly this. "You're intoxicating," she whispered against my hair. "Everything about you." I turned my head slightly, and suddenly our faces were inches apart. I could see the flecks of gold in her hazel eyes. Could count her eyelashes if I wanted to. Could feel the magnetic pull between us that had been building for weeks, finally reaching its inevitable conclusion. "Can I kiss you?" she asked, and the fact that she asked, that she gave me that choice, that moment to decide, made me want it even more. "Please," I breathed. She kissed me soft and slow, her lips gentle against mine like she was savoring every second. My first kiss with a woman, my first kiss with Sophia. It felt like something clicking into place, like coming home, like the answer to a question I'd been asking my whole life without knowing I was asking it. When we pulled apart, we were both smiling, giddy almost, like teenagers with a secret. "So," she said, still holding me close, "that perfume." I laughed. "What about it?" "I'm going to need you to wear it forever. It's going to be my favorite scent for the rest of my life now because it means this moment. You." We kissed again, longer this time, and I felt something in me unfurl. Some part of myself I'd kept locked away without realizing it, now free, now seen, now held in the arms of someone who made me brave enough to look at my own truth and not turn away. That was 2 days ago. We've been texting constantly since then, staying up late, talking on the phone like we're back in high school. Tomorrow we're going on our first official date. She's picking me up at 7. I've already changed my outfit 3 times. And yes, I'll be wearing the perfume. Jasmine and bergamot. The scent that started everything. The scent that will always remind me of the moment I let myself be seen, the moment I stopped hiding from my own heart. I never thought I'd be here. Never thought I'd be the person writing this story. But here I am, awake at 3 in the morning again, but this time not from anxiety, from excitement, from joy, from the knowledge that sometimes the smallest gesture, a compliment about how you smell, someone leaning close and breathing you in, can crack open your whole world and show you who you were always meant to be. Sophia texted me an hour ago, just one line. Can't sleep. Thinking about you. I texted back immediately. Same, always same. And it's true. I think I've been thinking about her since the day we met. I just finally let myself understand what those thoughts meant, what this feeling is, what I want. Tomorrow night when she picks me up, I'm going to tell her that. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to lean into this terrifying, wonderful thing that's happening between us. I'm going to let myself want what I want without apology or fear, because life's too short to ignore the truth of your own heart. Life's too short to pretend you don't feel what you feel. And I feel everything when I'm with her. Everything. So here's to new perfume. Here's to coworkers who notice. Here's to the courage it takes to say what you really mean. And here's to Sophia, who saw me before I saw myself, and who waited patiently while I caught up. I can't wait to see where this goes.